Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good
Hello.
afternoon. Okay, so it's 3 8 p.m. live from Brazil.
Okay, it's 8 minutes live from Portugal.
Book club
First edition.
officially began. Hello,
Yay.
guys. Okay, so I see you there. Okay, so first I gotta tell you that this is book club number one, and we are having like a special discussion on this very interesting comic book. But I gotta tell you that this event is part of a big effort on CCBC because we are having like a series of events on several topics. And so this is book club number one, but this is not the first event. So the first event was carried out by Vito, teacher Vito, and it was on June 5th. And the seminar was design, create, plan, three paths that can lead you to your goals. Okay, so just to highlight that we are having like this effort in producing a body of work here, like on the digital like settings, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is book club number one, and to discuss this book, Women World, we're having a special guest today. It's teacher Gabi, live from Lisbon. Okay, and so teacher Gabi has been teaching English for over 6 years. Okay, she is taking her master course in tourism and communication from University of Lisbon. Okay, and she's a former coworker. Um, we have taught English for some time in another institution, and she's a good friend of mine. Okay, so I would like to have Gabi like saying a few words right now, introduce yourself, to say what is the situation like out there in Lisbon and with this COVID-19, so on and so forth. So Gabi, please tell us more about you.
Okay. Okay. Hannah, first of all, I would like to thank you very much for this opportunity. We have been friends and coworkers for so long, and I'm really happy and delighted with the opportunity to be speaking here today. And yeah, so right now in Lisbon, it's summertime because as you can see, I am in a very enlightened place right now because we still have sunlight outside. So the sun is setting around 9 p.m., which is very confusing sometimes because you think everything's fine and then, okay, it's 6 p.m., it's 5. No, but sometimes I didn't even have dinner. So yeah, it's a little bit confusing, but it's really good. Summertime is nice. And yeah, so right now we're still struggling a little bit with COVID-19. Life is getting back to normal, like little by little here in Lisbon and Portugal in general. But everything it's going to get back to normal, you know. So we are still struggling to find some solutions. We were making our quarantine less rigid, okay, less strict in three different phases. And the last one, we needed to step back, you know. So the last phase, everything was postponed like 15 days later. So the stuff that would open again on June 1st opened again only on yeah, June 15th. So everyone is
Wow.
struggling on their way. So yeah, but I can say I officially stayed home 75 days, like without getting out for other stuff besides supermarket, and sometimes going to go for a walk, isolated walks, because this was always allowed and permitted for all of us. So yeah, so that's life around here. Thank you for asking.
So you took advantage of those days to like take your time and read the book as well that you're discussing today, right?
Of course, exactly. And thank you because this book was so enlightening, you know, it was really good. And also it brings so much values and so many interesting discussions but in a very soft way, because it's in a form of a comic book, which is really great.
Okay.
So, yes.
Okay. So you have had a very good experience on reading this book, right?
Yes, it was really good,
Okay.
and I recommend, totally recommend.
Okay. Very nice. So I gotta tell that this is like book club number one, and hopefully we have like the opportunity to having number 2, 3, and 4, and 5 with like some other books that are as interesting as this one. At least for me, that was a very good experience, and sharing with you in the discussion will be like even more interesting, right? Okay, so what book are we talking about? So we are talking about a comic book written by a Canadian writer. Her name is Aminder Dhaliwal. Okay, so and why have we chosen like this book? First of all, we truly believe that and we gotta tell you like this later on, but there has been this movement on reading women since 2014, and we are striving for getting like more female writers on like the scene of discussing literature and really like getting to know more the writers, getting to know more the body of work produced by those writers. And other than that, it's a comic book that is very, very interesting because it discusses like some very important issues in a very subtle way, in a very funny way, in a very like very particular way, right? So we are discussing feminism, we are discussing social equity, but in a very subtle way, right? So, and who is Aminder Dhaliwal? So I'm going to read some piece of information about her. Okay, as I said, she's Canadian. She was born in Brampton, Ontario. Okay, and she has received a bachelor on animation from Sheridan College, and she now lives in LA, Los Angeles, where she has directed, storyboarded, and written for Disney TV animation, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon. So she's very important on the animation scene, and she's recognized as a very important voice, even though she's very young. Okay, I'm not quite sure if we can see a picture of her, but she's very young, and she's very talented. And I was quite surprised by the fact that she is so talented. She goes of yes, that's right. So this is Aminder Dhaliwal. As you can see, she's very young, but very talented at the same time. At the same time, okay. So and as a comic book, we would expect something like less. Less like
Heavy.
yeah, somehow, because we're somehow used to have like comic books as the superheroes and like this whole scene of animation and getting to know more about superheroes, so on and so forth. But here we are dealing with like real people, right, Gabi?
Exactly. We're dealing with real people, and well, besides being a comic book, so it's a book that brings very serious issues, okay, about woman world, okay. So, and also the title of the book is amazing, and it's exactly what happens in our lives. The more I was reading the book, I was like, yes, that happens. Yeah, that happens too. Wow, that's true, completely true. And sometimes I was reading and laughing because she managed to have those discussions, those heavy discussions that sometimes takes us to serious discussion with other people to fight for. And well, sometimes it's not very calm when we want to discuss those subjects that she arouses in her book. So, but
Yeah.
she brings it so soft, in a very soft way that makes us laugh and reflect a lot about what she puts there. Of course, she puts a lot of stuff that we already know, but it's never too much to be reminded of the importance of everything we are fighting every day. So, as and not only as women, but as also human beings, okay? Because we all we all belong to the same race. We are human beings, okay? And that's it.
That's okay. So although technically it's a sci-fi, like science fiction, because like the premise of it is like we're the women they're living in a world that are somehow post-apocalyptical. So it's a world without man. Okay, so the first question is, so a world without men. Gabi, how would you react to it?
Well, this is kind of impossible to imagine, like really imagine what would happen, you know? I don't know, because maybe the first thing that we women can imagine, it's like, okay, a world without men. Okay, first of all, I would say for me, okay, I think I
Yeah,
would not be harassed anymore,
yeah,
okay? I'm not saying,
for sure.
and I want to make clear here that not all men are like this. Not all men do this, okay? But we have men that do this, okay? And if we need to talk about it, it's because that exists, okay? Just because it doesn't happen around you or you don't see that happening frequently, that doesn't mean that not exist, okay? So for me, I would think that I would not be harassed anymore. I would think about reproducing, okay? So for example, as a straight woman, I would think like, okay, if one day I want to have a family or have babies, so how would that happen? Okay, so yeah, you know, so that would be weird. So this is a very technical question about it. Okay, I know there are research and a lot of stuff that are developing that women and women plus women we that can have babies together, you know, and also the books brings this about, okay, like a research about it. And yeah, that would be weird. I don't know how I would react, but I would feel really happy to engage and to see around as many women as I can and talk
Uh,
to them, see all their differences. Like, where are you from? What is your history? What have you done in your life? How are you feeling today? So I would feel very happy to get to know as many women as I could if this happened.
that's very nice. And while I was reading, I was just somehow I remember about like metamorphosis from Franz Kafka. You know, like it seems a little absurd, but the very first page of Kafka's book, it's like all of a sudden Gregor Samsa turned into a big bug. So it seems like so out of like context and situation, but you gotta accept it and move on the story. So it's quite the same here on the comic book. You have to accept that the world is without man and move on the narrative. Otherwise, you wouldn't understand what you're trying to portray. So did you feel the same? Like, okay, I gotta accept it and understand what's going on and get the narrative and get the points you're trying to come across.
Yeah, exactly. So because the way she writes the comics and the sequence of the story, it's very involving. Okay, so of course you're like, no, because for me, when I read a book, I am open to new ideas. Okay, so I know that she's bringing something that it's not very real. Okay, like for all men in Earth to be extinct. But of course, I'm open to that discussion. Okay, so okay, if she wants us to bring the reader to a utopic reality, why not? Okay, so let's be immersed on that and let's think about it. Let's see her through her perspective. And what was she thinking when she wrote that book? Okay, what she wants to bring, what topics of discussion she wants to arouse, you know? So I loved that book. I immersed completely on that, and I recommend 100%.
Yeah, that's very nice. So, but one thing that really like calls my attention is the fact that sometimes when we are having a discussion on like gender, so on and so forth, we tend to have like almost like a conflict between men and women, and considering like women as a group, like a very homogeneous group. But through the speech bubbles and through the narrative, we could see that we should not take women as like as a homogeneous group, because everyone is different, right? So I think like from the very beginning we could understand like this message and try to portray that we should respect individuality, but also understand that what is special on us, it's what lack on others, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are parts on the book that she wants to confuse our minds, okay? Because, for example, we have this general idea. Well, I think we human beings, we tend to generalize a lot, okay? So, oh, this is man stuff. Oh, this is woman stuff. Oh, this is child stuff. This is whatever stuff, okay? So, but then she brings this idea to us that we are almost tended to generalize again, but then she stops us in the end and it's like, wow, that was tricky, you know? Because there is a moment in the book I would like to comment. It's like a kind of spoiler for the ones that are curious to read it one day. But she says like, okay, there are a group of, there's this leader, this girl, she's the leader, and then all more women are there around her. And then they start saying, I am the mayor of science. I am the mayor of my city. I am the mayor of everything, blah, 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 whatever. So they raise their hands and they say what they are. And then in the end, she says, okay, so what is the one thing that we all have in common? And then, of course, you are kind of led to think, okay, we are all women. No, we all use mayor as our label. Okay,
Yeah.
like, okay, so we consider ourselves mayors. It's not exactly related to gender. Okay, so and then it's a tricky moment, and I was like, okay, I was caught in this tricky. That was really nice. Yeah, so I like it very much, and she makes it very. She differentiates it very well when she shows different scenes of those women, those girls choosing what to eat, choosing what to do, choosing what to study, choosing what to love. Okay, so
Yeah.
she makes it completely different. Okay, and also there is a part of the book in the very end that she says, okay, I want to eat chocolate. uh, does it mean that I am on PMS? No, it doesn't mean that you are on PMS just because you want chocolate. PMS is something so bigger than just wanting to eat chocolate, you know, like you have your emotions confused. You are on the time that maybe you have pain and a lot of stuff happens. So let's just not make it general, just
Yeah.
homogeneous. Every woman, when they are on PMS, they want to eat chocolate. I don't. I don't like sweets. Okay, for me, I can speak for
Yeah. Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I don't want to eat chocolate or sweets. Like I am calmer with other type of stuff, you know. So we are different. We are united, but we are different.
Okay, absolutely. I would like to see if there is a possibility of having picture three, because we have selected some pictures from the book. Of course, we don't have like the whole book, but we have like selected some important, and we would like to show right now, just somehow to keep track on the discussion. And on picture three, there is a very interesting discussion, because somehow when we have like this gender issues, most of the time they get really confused by the difference between human rights and power. Like sometimes they divide like boys and girls in terms of power and boys and girls in terms of rights. And I think Aminder somehow really strives for something like, okay, right now we're dealing with rights rather than power. Power is another thing. Power is it is something that we don't have to stand up for, because okay, they are different. They are different. But in terms of rights, we should strive for equity, right, Gabi?
Exactly. This is something that I would like to also make clear, because this is something I believe, and equality is something that it's really hard to achieve. Okay, and I believe equality sometimes may not be healthy. Okay, because what works really well for you does not work well for me. Okay, So, and it's not, doesn't work the same way, okay? So the thing about feminism, okay, which is the real concept of feminism, is like looking for equity that
Absolutely.
of everything that men achieved in life, okay? So all men, they are born with the right to study, to vote, to choose whom they love, what they do. They are born with freedom. But women, we kind of we needed to seek for it along the years, okay? And every year, every 100 years, something more significant happened for us, okay? Like voting, like choosing who to marry or not to marry, having babies or not having babies, okay? So, and choosing equity is like, for example, men, they want to work. We want to work too. It doesn't mean that I want the same job position as you, because I am different. I am a human being, and I want to have the rights should be the same for everyone. I want to have the right to study as you had. I want to have the right to vote as you had. It doesn't mean I'm going to vote for the same person. It doesn't mean I'm going to have the same job as you. But I want to have this freedom to choose what I want to do. I want to have this. And equity is different than equality. Okay? Equality sometimes is not very healthy because it doesn't work for everyone the same way. And that's the point for me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And on picture 4, I guess we have like a scene that is very relevant to what we are talking about. And as I said in the very beginning, the scenario is something like outrageous. So it's a utopia-like world on female perspective, of course. Like men are no longer in life, are no longer on Earth. And so we start to think that this perspective is very unique, but there is something like far beyond than just it. While I was reading, I could remember that in 2014, a journalist called Joanna, I forgot her last name, Joanna Walsh, yes, and she has said like the hashtag called reading women. And what is this all about? So she could recognize that most of the time in universities, in schools, and book clubs like this, most of the authors were basically men. So they were discussing men. Where were women at that time? So we are talking about women that are not writing. We are talking about women that are not reading. No, 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 no. We are talking about somehow some efforts and some actions that tend to raise attention to men, while we somehow like trying to not put attention or put light in women's production. So this is something very bad, because we have like amazing writers, we have amazing stories, but where were they at that time? So with this simple like hashtag, she could raise attention to that, and not only call attention for it, but start a movement on getting to know more the female writers. So I think a book club like this would somehow raise attention to it, but also get the opportunity of see how the female perspective on some gender and some social issues is far more different than what we are used to, right? So what do you think about that, Yubi?
Exactly. And I want to have your perspective on this right now and make a link to the present situation we are living in the world with the coronavirus. Okay. So this is something that you can see, okay, that behind the scenes, all the countries that have implemented more effective ways to go against the virus, like social isolating and all those measures important to stop and contain the spread of the virus, those people in government decisions, they are women, okay? I'm not saying that men do not take good decisions, okay? But I'm highlighting and putting attention that women are as well important, and they also have a voice right now, and they are an example in the world with this. Okay, so where were they at that time? As the journalist said, there were. So we need to bring voice to those women that are making wonders to the world. Okay, so for example, the woman in New Zealand, okay, the president, the prime minister, she's doing wonders with everything. It's being amazing, everything that she's doing. Here in Portugal, the minister of health here in Portugal, Portugal became an example around the world on how to contain the virus. Of course, there are some misinterpretations or misunderstandings about everything, but you can see the different measures applied over the world. You know, sometimes I believe I can be a little, I can bring some good debate right now with what I'm going to say, but I believe sometimes men are trying to prove their points, okay, that they are right, I'm right, you're wrong, instead of finding a solution. Like sometimes I see like a little bit of ego. Of course, we human beings, ego is something about human beings, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to link to the real situation as well. Right
Yeah,
now.
absolutely. So we are talking about like this great women back 2014, but the thing is, she started like raising like calling attention traits on literature, but we somehow can't like understand like the same perspective on economy, on science, on art, on politics, on sports, so on and so forth. So basically, what I was trying to say is that it feels like we gotta have like read women in every single field of like society, like field like sports, economy, social science, and so on and so forth. But do we need that, or somehow that should be like a natural movement on the evolution of the society? So this is the big question, I guess.
I mean, like, if we still have to prove a point on something, it's because we still have a problem. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I believe something like this. I wish in my utopic world that this could be a more normal process and everything, a more natural process of including women in every field of life that we have. Not just talking about professions, but absolutely everything, you know. But I don't think if we let things happen naturally, uh, maybe we're not gonna be heard on some point, you know. And there's a part also in the book that there are two girls talking about it. They are discussing, and one of them said, "I don't like to discuss." Okay, but why don't you like to discuss? No, I don't like to discuss because of this, and that. But yeah, you can talk about it. No, I don't want to prove my point. But you're trying to prove your point that you don't want to discuss, and that's okay. Okay, so why not fighting for something, for being there, you know, for being there in many parts, because we can prove that we are human beings and we are able to make wonders like everyone else. Well, there shouldn't be a difference between gender, but that happens. And if we still have to prove a point, it's because we still have a problem.
Yeah.
So I wish there could happen in a more natural way, but I don't think that if we let things go so naturally, I don't think maybe this would happen like nicely, and like I don't think we could achieve a certain place of equity. I don't think so.
Okay. Sometimes you have to like say it louder so people can really understand, and sometimes you have to say it
But louder.
across, right?
Exactly. But louder does not mean fighting and making, destroying things, and then I don't know, just like overreacting so much. You know, I mean, like you can show your power in so many ways, because we are used that everything we need to solve in violence, everything we need to solve with strikes and everything. So, I guess sometimes we could find other solutions. We can try other ways and everything. So try educating and raising, for example, raising our children. If we straight women, we have, like other, not just straight women, but like couples in the world, they decide to raise kids. Okay, so how can we raise those kids that will be the future? How they will understand the importance of equity, that we all belong to human race, and we need to treat everyone with respect. We should include everyone and everything, So this is my main point here, maybe.
Okay. And there is another very important issue, I guess, and we have selected picture 5 to show that. It's like how the female body is treated throughout this whole discussion on reaching the same rights, in reaching the same opportunities, and so on and so forth. So like the body, like female's body throughout the history, throughout art history, has been like a very controversial issue, and a topic to be discussed, but not in a very, like, with bias, right? So my question is, over the past few years, we have been around some very serious issues on, like, set women free, especially their body, right? So after, like, the book, what do you think about that? Is there a future for a female body? What do you think?
I think that throughout the years, we have fought a lot to achieve some freedom in choosing the stuff for our bodies, that whatever we can choose, okay? So we still need to fight a lot of more stuff, because we are still seeing sometimes, okay, we still have this in the world. And like I said, if we still have to prove a point, it's because we still have a problem. So I think that, how can I say this? I want to make better my ideas. Okay, so for example, we have fought a lot to choose how to have babies or not. Okay, and we're still trying to fight, for example, with this with abortion laws. Okay, I don't think abortion, for example, should be a decision from the state. Okay, that shouldn't be a law. This should be a personal decision. And if you are against abortion, okay, if you, I'm saying not you exactly, but people. Okay, so think with yourself. If you think that you are against abortion, so how can you make people change their minds, maybe? Okay, so try to educate and do something different, so about that, but do not make it a law, okay? Because maybe you're going against someone's freedom, you're going against someone's will. And so anytime that the subject comes to human body, a woman body, the government and like everyone else is paying attention suddenly. Okay, so it's like, okay, so right, we were fine, we were okay, but then we cannot choose if we want to have a baby or not. Like, okay, so this shouldn't be a government or law's decision. This should be a personal decision. And I mean, if one day you regret what you're doing, you have to deal with your consequences, okay? Because this is something you chose a long time ago or some years ago, but you have to deal with your own consequences about it. So, and well, so I don't think we stop people from acting and stuff. So, for example, establishing a law on controlling women's body on this, for me, is just like you are obligating people or obliging people to do something that maybe they don't want. And I don't think this is correct, And once again, we're talking about women, and we're talking about freedom, and we're talking about, like, sometimes those people are men taking decisions. They don't know how it is. they don't know how they don't know about it. So yeah, maybe that's the point, you know. Also, but we have conquered a lot of stuff. So for example, if we don't want to get pregnant right now, we have all the means to avoid it and to stop it. But some time ago we needed to trust on nature that wasn't the time to get pregnant, you know. So but yeah, but right now we have also conquered a lot of stuff, but we still have a long way to go, I think.
Yeah, what is very what's decisive for me is the fact that I could understand, like through like the reading, how complex is the whole situation when it comes to body. And it's not a matter of decision yes or no, because there is halfway through, you gotta understand that it's not a matter of like yes or no, because we are dealing with far more like items to choose from. So while I was reading, I kept like I was trying to really understand and get like my mind like out of bias, out of like the whole opinion that I have about it, and really like understand her perspective. And I was quite surprised by the fact that I could somehow not change my mind completely, but uh, make room for new opinions, because like reading, like at the end of the day, reading is all about that, like getting new ideas on like different topics that you somehow have like your perspective, but you gotta make room for getting new things, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And this book is exactly that. Maybe if you read the book, you're going to agree with a lot of ideas, and maybe you disagree. Okay, so yeah, but that's it. So everyone has the right to disagree. Okay, and maybe we are friends, we are ex co-workers, but we can disagree a lot on a lot of stuff, and it's fine. And we need to somehow learn how to discuss our different ideas, and how can we come to a point that it's fine for you and it's fine for me, or even if we never come to an agreement on something, but it's okay. I will respect what you think, and you should do the same. Like respect my opinions, and that's what she wants to bring in this book, to respect everyone the way you are. Okay, because we are so different between ourselves, you know. Like in this book, it's only women, men are extinct, but even among women, we are so different between each other. And they, in this book, women, they disagree a lot, they have fights, they have existential conversations, which is really nice, and they disagree a lot, and it's okay. It's okay to disagree, but we need to discuss to understand other people's point of view, and this is
Yeah.
really interesting.
And what is interesting for me is the fact that it's we could say that it's a very long comic book. We are talking about like 260 pages, but most of the time she focused on like the body issue. Like we have some discussions on like being overweight, being too skinny, like nudity, and like trans women, and so on and so forth. And while I was reading, I remember a poetry competition that I've come across like a few years ago. And that poetry, it's that was like so powerful. And it's basically talking about like the women's relationship with their own body, and how this relationship is somehow it's really like in conflict with some others' opinion in terms of getting too skinny, getting too overweight, what you should eat, what you should not eat, and the things that women are in constant like conflict. So right now, I would like to share this poetry. It's the author is Lily Myers, and the title of the poetry is "Shrinking Women." Okay, so that was a competition. It took place in 2013, and right now I'm going to like mute my mic and just let the audience get to know more about this poetry. Okay, so just a second.
Across from me at the kitchen table, my mother smiles over red wine that she drinks out of a measuring glass. She says she doesn't deprive herself, but I've learned to find nuance in every movement of her fork, in every crinkle in her brow as she offers me the uneaten pieces on her plate. I've realized she only eats dinner when I suggest it. I wonder what she does when I'm not there to do so. Maybe this is why my house feels bigger each time I return. It's proportional. As she shrinks, the space around her seems increasingly vast. She wanes while my father waxes. His stomach has grown round with wine, late nights, oysters, poetry, a new girlfriend who was overweight as a teenager, but my dad reports now she's crazy about fruit. It was the same with his parents. As my grandmother became frail and angular, her husband swelled to red, round cheeks, rotund stomach, and I wonder if my lineage is one of women shrinking, making space for the entrance of men into their lives, not knowing how to fill it back up once they leave. I have been taught accommodation. My brother never thinks before he speaks. I have been taught to filter. How can anyone have a relationship to food, he asks, laughing, as I eat the black bean soup I chose for its lack of carbs. I want to say we come from difference, Jonas. You have been taught to grow out. I have been taught to grow in. You learned from our father how to commit, how to produce, to roll each thought off your tongue with confidence. You used to lose your voice every other week from shouting so much. I learned to absorb. I took lessons from our mother in creating space around myself. I learned to read the knots in her forehead while the guys went out for oysters. And I never meant to replicate her, but spend enough time sitting across from someone and you pick up their habits. That's why women in my family have been shrinking for decades. We all learned it from each other, the way each generation taught the next how to knit, weaving silence in between the threads, which I can still feel as I walk through this ever-growing house. Skin itching, picking up all the habits my mother has unwittingly dropped, like bits of crumpled paper from her pocket on her countless trips, from bedroom to kitchen to bedroom again. Nights I hear her creep down to eat plain yogurt in the dark, a fugitive stealing calories to which she does not feel entitled. Deciding how many bites is too many, how much space she deserves to occupy. Watching the struggle, I either mimic or hate her, and I don't want to do either anymore, but the burden of this house has followed me across the country. I asked 5 questions in genetics class today, and all of them started with the word sorry. I don't know the capstone requirements. I don't know the capstone requirements for the sociology major because I spent the whole meeting deciding whether or not I could have another piece of pizza. A circular obsession I never wanted, but inheritance is accidental. Still staring at me with wine-soaked lips from across the kitchen table.
So, so any comments on Gabi after this? This
Well,
knockout, yeah.
well, this video is just like this video just makes us speechless, you know. So thanks for putting down the link on the comments. That if some people want to watch it again later, maybe with subtitles to understand better the idea, guys, you can check the link Hannah just put there on the comments. But I think that I would like to highlight one thing that she says in the video, which is like she was taught for her parents to, well, put your emotions inside. You are to you are overreacting everything. And then her brother, she was taught to put it out, everything. Okay, so that's what happens. And sometimes check on a meeting. Okay, if a man puts out his words and then he snaps on the table and then he speaks out loud, he's considered powerful. Okay, which is something that we wanted to discuss as well. Okay, so different between rights and then power, which is, they are completely different stuff. So sometimes they are admired, like, okay, so this man is powerful. But imagine a woman doing this. We would be considered like, okay, you are overreacting. Maybe you shouldn't do it. Okay, so no, she's not okay. Maybe she's on PMS or something. Okay, so maybe the differences that happen to. So I just thought, just saw in this video someone putting out her heart, what she was taught her whole life about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a really great poem. It's it's amazing. It's really nice.
And for me, it's a jaw-dropping poetry. It is just because it's so like surreal, like talking about that, but you know that is true, and it is like it's conveying in a message that you know that is true, and you know how strong that can be. So through her poetry, you could see like many messages. And on your perspective, do you think there is like a whole message like behind Aminder's book? If we could say that there is a message on this book, what would it be?
I think is to give attention to stuff that we've been wanting to call attention for a long time. Okay, so this is something that she wants to arouse in this book, and also that we are all different and we need to respect the differences. Okay, that's the very first thing, because even though we're talking about a book that there are only women there because men were extinct, she wants to say that all of you are different, but you are naturally beautiful in your own way, and you don't have to worry about your body, that you can be with whomever you want, if you're gay or not, if you are straight, if you are transgender or whatever. So you can be with whomever you want. You can have your own choices in life. You can choose whatever profession you want to have. Do not judge by appearances. There is a part in the book that says exactly that. What she's doing there, please don't judge by the appearances. Maybe that does not look like what it is. And also, I think the final message with everything is that if we do not fight for what we want to achieve and what we believe, and this is not just about women's rights, okay? This is something even way deeper for me. If we do not fight for what we want in life and what we believe, nothing will ever change, and no one can do that for us. Maybe we have okay, so if you think that you have a voice that you can help more people, do it. Just do it, and do it because you're probably will be making good for more people than you imagine. And this book gives a very strong message, a punch in your stomach, but in a very soft way of a comic book. And I just loved it.
Yeah, that's very nice. Okay, so I gotta tell you that the audience, if you have any questions, any comments, anything that you'd like to say, please write on the chat so we can keep track on. So you've seen like a lot of coworkers here, like Hiachi, Marisabel. We've seen like Gabi's mother is here.
Yeah. My best friend is also here. My aunt, my mother, my boyfriend is also watching. And yeah, that's it. We have a lot of people watching us here.
So just in case you guys have some comments on this book or on this topic, just let us know through the chat. Okay. So I would like to move on to picture 7. Okay. To really talk about like this and I think this very singular point on the book, which is uniqueness. Okay, so she portrays like difference among women, but like she doesn't want to really like get the difference in zero, and I think she goes to the opposite. Okay, to really make sure that everyone is different and we should enhance difference. So maybe this is the message, like in between like the lines to get low. Okay, we know that there has been like this conversation telling that feminism is really getting people, like getting men over or above women, and it's not. We're striving for equity. So I think that there is a message on like we should not try to emulate like put the difference in zero, but we should enhance it and learn from it, and the equity will come like in exactly within this movement. So what do you think about that, Gabi? Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that. We need to make clear our points and everything. And this picture exactly shows that I don't always want to defend myself. Okay, but if you want, no one else will. Stop. I'm not arguing, but you are, and that's good. Okay, so when you start a discussion, okay, you start understanding other person's point of view, and this is good because this is a way of how can we exercise our empathy for the world, for people, for whatever you believe. We are so different between ourselves, okay? So of course we're always going to struggle to find a way that is good for everyone, and this is not going to happen, you know. So this is a utopic idea, but the more we talk about it, the more we bring to discussion, the more we do things, it's going to get in a more natural process. People will start being used to discussing this and understanding and listening another opinion, and maybe sometimes creating your opinion, because some people don't even have an opinion formed to talk about it, to defend a point or do something. So the more you are engaged on trying to arguing, but not in a bad way of having a fight, but arguing like in a way of discussing ideas, the better it is.
Okay, yeah, that's very nice. So we're having some comments here. So Claudio, our coordinator, is here. So like having a very good message. Thank you, Claudio. Isabel is also here, and a student of mine, Joyce, she's also here. She's saying like, can't wait to read this comic book, and talking about some recommendations, like through classes and everything. So thanks for your comment, Joyce. And I was just talking about like the difference, because the difference like among us somehow turned us like unique, very unique. So when it comes to uniqueness, there is like a very touching part of the book, and it's on picture 8. It talks about scars. So scars, when this character, I can remember her name, but she shows up like in the hospital, and she said like, doctor, I hurt my head in the rooms. Oh dear, this will sting. So I'm afraid you need stitches. And she said like, okay, stitches may leave a scar. And surprisingly, this character says, that's okay. I like scars. And somehow I could understand that this is uniqueness, right? This is all about like raising and embracing your uniqueness, right? So this is a very powerful message for young generations, right? So embrace your uniqueness. It doesn't matter if you belong to LGBT community, if you're women, and so this is embrace uniqueness, right?
Exactly. So do not be afraid to show maybe your scars, okay, to the world. It's not about like writing a book about it or preparing a live on Instagram and talk about it, your scars. You don't need to expose like this, okay? We're not suggesting it. The book does not suggest it. But it's like, okay, I can live well with my scars because they belong to me and they are part of who I am becoming every day. Because I am not the same Gabriela from yesterday.
Yeah,
You're not the same Irina from yesterday. We are different today. We learned something. We've been through different things. So scars are very important. Scars mean that we committed mistakes, and who does not commit mistakes does not learn, never. And scars also
with being
shows
hurt,
you,
right?
yeah,
With,
exactly, being hurt, and also the scars of being hurt. Okay, and then you're hurt, maybe emotionally, maybe physically, but because that happens. And then but don't be afraid of your scars. Don't be ashamed of your scars. They compose absolutely every part of who you are, and this makes you so special. For example, aren't we proud of a scar that we have maybe from childhood? Because it means what? That we were a happy child, that we were riding a bike, that we were doing lots of great stuff. So maybe a scar in a woman's condition, for example, it means that something bad happened to her, okay? Like a man, uh, uh, she suffered aggression, okay? So maybe this does not bring good memories, but it also composes of who she is today and what she fights for today.
she could have,
Nowadays, exactly. In bad situations, sometimes we can always thrive and see again good things happening.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And I think if we could like say the final message of the whole book, it's really like embrace your uniqueness. And it doesn't matter if it's like in a real world or in a post-apocalyptic situation. You should stand up for like uniqueness and embrace the difference and strive for it, right?
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
find your own place, right?
Find your own place. And the book also suggests that if you are able to find your own place, it's because there is a place for you in somewhere,
Yeah,
okay? You don't need to try to make yourself equal of the same person or anything or something else, because you are unique and you have your special place in the world waiting for you. And
yeah,
everyone does. And this is great. This is amazing. This book, for me, brings the subject of women, but I think everyone should read it because you have so many deep messages about the construction of human being
uh-huh,
that it's really inspiring, really
yeah,
inspiring.
yeah. And I'm gonna share like my personal opinion on. I was from the very beginning. There is this contract between the writer and the author, saying that okay, you gotta accept that men are no longer like in this the world, so you gotta accept it. But somehow, as the narrative goes, I thought like okay, at the end of it, we're going to see like I don't know, a baby, maybe a child or a man appearing all of a sudden, but we didn't see it,
No,
and
that doesn't
we don't have
happen.
expectations on. And can we see pictures 9, 10, and 11? Because this is portraying like what we could see like the very like the end of it, and like really like breaking our expectations on having a solution and equity, because a minder said okay, in this world we don't have like men, and it's okay not having it. Okay, so I was like part surprised about that, and I was like shocked, but at the same time I was delighted, because this is so like groundbreaking and very interesting at the same time. So I could see that it's okay not having it. Okay, yes, she said that Dr. Sharma, which is a character, a doctor from like, the beginning of the book, would never know it, but humankind was okay after all. So which means that men are distinct for all. So the women spend their days. What were they doing? Can you move to picture 10, please? So what were they doing? So they were appreciating loved ones. They were strengthening the community. And what else? They were wisening. They were growing older. And here there is a funny episode on like the grandma and the little kid. Because she said, "Oh, what are you doing? Are you faking my death? Oh, I'm a storyteller. That's what this movie is about. So tell another story. So don't kill me. I might be a little old, but I'm not dead anymore. I'm not dead. Okay." And spreading love. So this expectation that I was somehow feeling from the very beginning, that she would solve like in a very diplomatic way. Okay, let's bring back men. So this expectation was like, okay, you should get rid of it. Not in my book, right?
Yes.
So what was like your perspective on the very fine of this book, Gabi?
Well, the very final of the book. Well, first of all, I started reading the book and I was like, okay, she wants to prove a point that men are no longer necessary. Okay, but that's not exactly the idea that the book wants to give you. Okay, it's not that men are unnecessary. It's just because that we together we could live a normal life. Okay, so we could live a normal life and like doing our stuff. We were doing great stuff together. Okay, and this is also to bring a point that women, we should not fight with each other. We should be more
Yeah.
united, because if we are united, look the wonders that we can do for us and for the world. Okay, so we together alone in this world, what did we spend time doing? Appreciating loved ones, strengthening the community, wisening up, growing older. Okay, so great things. Okay, so if we are united on this, we can do wonders. Okay, we should not keep feeding this competition that we have, a subconscious competition that we have with other women, competition against a job, against a reputation, against a man, whatever. So we should be more united. And this is the final message that she wants to pass for me. That's what I understood, and never a message like men are useless. No, it's not the point. She's not that kind of author. She does never say bad things about men. Her focus is on women and the wonders they can do together, and that's the point. Because also the point she arouses is equity, is about love, it's about finding your true self, accepting who you are. So all of those things are great things, and this book is a real nice touch of female education for nowadays. Okay, so if you're having girls nowadays, women, men, this book is invited for everyone. It's like a new way of showing feminism with education, with discussions, and like, okay, let's understand what they want to say. And her perspective is really great, actually.
Yeah, so I think we should enhance like reading and writing based on female's perspective. And I think Joanne was right. We should read more women more often, right? Because they do have something to say, right?
Exactly. So I think we have more comments here on our
Yeah.
chat.
Can you read it?
Yes, I think here, so people saying that is a very good recommendation as well. They are thanking us for everything. And then we also have a point about that Alex said, sometimes the scars can be reminders of how strong we are and the challenges that we faced and survived. Okay. And because sometimes the scars remains, we remember bad things. And if they are there and we can show the world, it's because we survived. We
Yeah.
survived. And this is power. This for me is power. You survived in a very, you could survive even if it was bad for you, even if you saw that there was no exit, there was no other option, but you did, you survived, and this is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Of course, this is our understanding from like Aminder's book. Of course, it's not with me,
Exactly, of course, and that's the point.
That's
She's
absolutely the point. Yeah.
exactly, that's the point. It's a book collab about what we discussed and what are our thoughts, and that's why this live is open for comments and for people to share their ideas, and that's what the books wants us to do. Let's share, let's talk, let's exchange knowledge, and let's develop empathy for each other's ideas.
And this is the reason why we should stand up for like more discussions, like more opportunities like that, and getting to know more female writers, getting to know more about literature from female's perspective, and like make room to understand like different point of views, right? Because I think what we are facing in terms of politics here in Brazil is that we are not really concerned about yeah, I think we can have the discussions later on, but we should understand that it's okay to be different, right?
Exactly. It's okay to be different. It's okay to choose whomever you want to love. Also, there is one thing that the book suggests, and I want to know your opinion too on this, because
Okay.
I'm not very sure if you had the same impression as me. But there's a moment that they mention the transgender definition, okay? And it's exactly when the little kid, the granddaughter, and the grandmother are discussing about it, because the grandkid, she's very talkative. She asks a lot. Yeah, she asks a lot about a lot of stuff. And then she also talks about transgender. And then her grandmother says, yeah, that's exactly, I don't remember exactly right now in what page or what exactly the words, but then she said, yeah, and transgender came with the definition that finally could define me. I finally found a place for myself in this definition. So I wanted to understand, do you believe that this grandmother was a transgender? Because she says in a very personal way, like, I am transgender, but I am your grandmother, and I chose to be your grandmother, you know? So this is very powerful for me as well.
That would be a very like jaw-dropping plot twist. I think I didn't pay attention to it. I know what you're talking about. I remember that, but I gotta go back to the book and read it again, because
Okay.
that was a very interesting point. Like she was trying to convey like some different like family shape, right? So that would be interesting, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because we have the doctor, of course, right?
Sorry?
The
I
doctor.
didn't hear. Yes.
We do have the doctor, but the grandma, I wasn't aware of the fact that she might be transgender woman, but that would be very interesting, even more interesting, right?
Yes, because this made me think, and I stopped for a moment in the book and I was like, okay, so the grandmother is a transgender and she's here in this woman world representing women because she chose to be a woman, you know, like it was her choice to be a woman, like in this, you know. So
Yeah.
maybe people, if you are interested in reading the book later, so if you can come back to these live comments and put your ideas here, if you agree with me or not, or like what you thought, what you understood about it, that would be really nice as well to construct, like, what did you think, what you thought. So yeah, but this is still a question mark for me. I still not sure if that's what the message she wanted to pass along.
Or you can also talk to Gabi, like straight to Gabi through like, Instagram. Gabi, can you tell what your Instagram is here on the chat?
Okay, yeah, I'm going to put here my Instagram. You can follow me there, or if you don't want to follow me, but you can at least share your idea on the
Yeah.
inbox, like after you read the book or not, or share anything that you want with the ideas of this. So I'm going to put my Instagram in the comments.
Okay. That's very nice. So while Gabi is doing that, I would like to like say thank you to everybody who attended like this book club. That was like the first one. Like just repeating what I said from the very beginning. So this is book club number 1, but it doesn't mean that this is the first event, because the first event was carried out by teacher Vitor. And I think like everybody who's interested in self development, understanding like perspectives on finding good solutions for problems in a daily basis, I think we should take advantage of this webinar carried out by teacher Vito. And the title was Design, Create, Play, 3 Paths that can lead you to your goals. Okay, you can have some more information about that on Facebook here, page CBUC. Okay, and there is a coming presentation. Okay, so this is the second event, and there is a third event which is about art history, and the lecturer will be teacher Lucas. Okay, can't wait to see it. Okay, so and I would like to say thank you for Benices, which is our binational centers. Okay, so maybe we have people from those places. Okay, and like thank you everybody for attending, for commenting, for staying with us in this 1 hour talking about literature and talking about like social issues. Okay, and Gabi and I, we were talking about how we could end this live, and somehow we end up like thinking, okay, we're talking about like literature, we're talking about female writers, so I think we should end it with some other writer, and this is Sylvia Plath. I'm not quite sure if you guys can see it. So Sylvia Plath, she was American, like a very famous writer, and her like most famous book was The Bell Jar, and a very very interesting book. And just to wrap up like everything, we are going to read poem, a very strong poem called Lady Lazarus. Okay, and I think that would be a great poem to end up and to wrap up everything. Okay, so it's a very hard poem. Okay, I might get confused with some words, but the intention is, yeah, thank you very much. So, so let's have it. Lady Lazarus from Sylvia Plath. Okay, I've done it again. 1 year in every 10, I manage it. A sort of walking miracle, my skin, bright as a Nazi lampshade, my right foot. A paper weight, my face is featureless, fine, Julian. Peel off the napkin, oh my enemy. Do I terrify? The nose, the eye pits, the full set of teeth, the sour breath will vanish in a day. Soon, soon the flesh, the grave cave it will be at home on me. And I, a smiling woman, I'm only 30. And like a cat, I have 9 times to die. Okay? So I think there is a very powerful message within here. But I could say that we should stop killing our women as well, right, Gabi?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this last message in her poem, Sylvia Plath, is very She's very enlightening. I like her very much too. I've read some pieces of her, and yeah, of her work. And stopping killing women. Of course, she says that I am like a cat. I have 9 lives to die, but it doesn't mean that we need to die to be in the world again, to reborn. You know, so this is a hidden message as well about killing female and everything else. So I think this is a great link to the book, and wrapping up with Sylvia Plath was a great choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Any further comments? Let's see if we have here. Okay. So Elisa, teacher Elisa, thank you for your comment. Claudio, Alex, Nusi, Joyce, Isabel, like everybody, thank you so much for interacting with us. Okay, so I would like to, would like to say something, Abby, before we finish. So I have no word to explain how grateful I am to have you here with us. I'm very glad by the fact, and delighted by the fact that you were like here with me, like sharing your experience, sharing your opinions, your thoughts. Okay, so thank you so much, and I miss you so much as a friend. But this live was somehow the opportunity of like seeing you, even though we are like through internet and everything, but also like discuss with someone I admire a lot.
Okay, thank you very much. You can be sure that I feel the same way about you. I miss you so very much. I admire your work as well. I admire all the path that you have done, and I felt really honored with this invitation to be here today, to be talking about a very good book, very interesting and important subjects, okay? Because we didn't just talk about women, we talked about human beings and lives, and this is something very important that we should always be discussing. And yes, thank you for the invitation once again. When you invited me for this, I almost didn't believe it. I was like smiling so much and so flattered with all this. And yeah, you can be sure that the feeling here is mutual for you as well.
And like a cat, we have 9 times to die, right?
Exactly. 9 times to die, to do everything once again. We can always reinvent ourselves. And thank you for this.
Okay, so I think that's a wrap for today. So thank you so much for being with us. Okay, the audience, Gabi, and a special thanks for Vitor, teacher Vitor. Vitor,
thank you very much.
Yeah, Vitor, you're a very nice person, very nice like coworker, and Vitor helped us a lot when it comes to technological like settings, so on and so forth. So a special thank for you. Okay, Vitor, I'm not quite sure if you can speak or appear, but we are very grateful for having you here. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you, Vitor. People, you don't know how many details and stuff that there is behind a live that to make this work and make this right. So yes, we should be thanking everyone working on backstage for making this happening. This is really nice.
Okay, and that's a wrap for today. Okay, and stay tuned because we have like the coming event on art history with Mr. Lucas, and that will be a very interesting as well. Okay, so that's it for today, and I hope you have a good time and stay at home. Okay, bye bye. Bye, Gabi.
Bye, Hannah. Thank you very much. Bye, people. Thank you
Live
for your. Yes, live from Portugal. It's 8:27. Bye bye.
4:27. Bye. Take care.